This episode is brought to you by Pinnacle Pathways. I'm Aarya.
And I'm Yuvam, and we're the founders of Pinnacle Pathways, a youth led initiative built to help teenagers and young professionals navigate their way through the ever evolving corporate landscape.
At Pinnacle Pathways, our mission is to bridge the gap between education and industry. We aim to equip students with the real world skills, insights, and exposure they need to thrive not just academically but professionally.
Through interviews with industry leaders, hands on learning opportunities, and personalized guidance, we're building a platform where youth are not just participants but leaders of tomorrow's workforce.
We believe in the power of meaningful conversations, and that's exactly what we bring you through this podcast. So, whether you're a student, an aspiring entrepreneur, or just curious about how industries really work, this is your space.
Let's dive into today's episode and get ready to uncover insights that could shape the future of your career and mindset. Welcome to the Pinnacle Pathways podcast, where we equip ambitious youth with the insights, skills, and confidence needed to navigate both corporate and financial landscapes. Our mission is to bring you candid conversations with industry leaders, revealing the strategies and mindsets that drive success in today's competitive world. Today's guest, Cherian Matthew, a seasoned wealth management professional and market educator who has spent the last decade teaching US stocks, futures, and options, with a background in strategic planning at top advertising agencies, and now leading the launch of a new training institute in Dubai. Cherian blends corporate acumen with deep market analysis expertise. In this episode, we'll explore his personal journey into finance, his teaching philosophies, strategic vision for financial education, and actionable advice for those looking to master the markets. Your transition from corporate strategist to financial educator provides a powerful example of career reinvention. It shows how foundational experiences can ignite new passions. So, sir, what initially drew you to the world of wealth management and trading? And how did you decide to shift from strategic planning into financial education?
A very good question. So I was enjoying my career in marketing. That was my background in education, and I was, thoroughly enjoying that career. Uh, and somewhere down the line, I was saving a lot, and I wanted the savings to grow. Now, I used to entrust it with the so-called fund managers and investment experts, but I wasn't getting any results. So I waited, 3 years, 4 years, nothing was really happening. And I had a very open, honest conversation with my relationship manager. He told me that they will not be able to deliver growth. That's because they were not taking any risk on my behalf. And if they don't take risk, they're not achieving growth. So I said, okay, is there a way out? They said, yeah, fair enough. If I was willing to take the risk, I could achieve growth, which means I had to now start investing on my own behalf and take risk. And there were some funds, or like, think of it like stocks. So I could choose some stocks which could give me growth. So then I said, okay, fair enough. There is a way out. The way out is that I learned to do it myself, and that's how I started. Doing my own research. Studying everything that I had heard was important. Macroeconomics, microeconomics, fundamentals of companies. And accidentally, I stumbled upon something, which is I used to take the closing prices of all the units, the funds, and I used to create my own charts on Excel. I didn't know that price charts were already available, ready-made. So I used to create my own charts. And from the chart, so among everything that I was doing on the charts, on my graphs at that point, I saw some patterns that were repetitive. Price goes up, tends to come down a little bit and then keeps going back up. So I studied that pattern for some time, and then I started investing based on those patterns. And I would call them my fund managers and give them instructions, buy this fund, move my funds to this fund, so on and so forth. So I was effectively now taking decisions on my own behalf. And I did that for about 6 months. And my total savings, which was until then zero growth, had gone up 40%
Wow.
in 6 months. So that just blew my mind. If somebody had told me that, you can grow your funds or your savings at 40%, I would have not believed it. But this is not somebody else telling me. I did it myself,
Yeah.
with my own, homegrown stuff, right? Stuff that I was doing as a side hustle in the evenings. I was spending time with some data, and I found something. So that got me excited. It also got me nervous. The excitement was, this is possible, and the nervousness was, what if this is just beginner's luck? What if
Yeah.
this is just some random thing? I don't even know what it is. So that got me that got me thinking, I should invest in some serious education. What if I were to get some real training, right? This could become really serious, or this could be taken to the next level. That's how I started looking out for courses. I found a good course, which was an evening course, which meant I wouldn't have to quit my full-time job and career. So this was something that I started on the side doing
Yeah.
from an evening course. And then this just caught my fancy. Once I learned it, then I was all over this. And over the years, then I saw more of my time going into the financial markets and less into advertising and marketing. So that's how the transition happened. About 10 years back, I was invited to teach, and I was very excited with the opportunity, and I've been teaching ever since. And now we are in the process of setting up a new training institute, incidentally also called Pinnacle Institute.
Wow. That's
uh,
amazing. Wow.
so that was the transition.
That's amazing. Understanding those beginnings highlights the importance of purpose in career choices. It also leads us to skills you mastered first. So, which key skills in market analysis and risk management did you prioritize developing, and how do you ensure your students acquire those same abilities?
So I started out very broad, in the sense I looked at macroeconomics, microeconomics, fundamentals of companies, how to read financial statements. There's also a whole branch of study called technical analysis. So and while I was exploring all this, I was seeing that technical analysis could give much quicker results. So for example, if you want to make an investment right now and be out of that investment in 2 hours or 3 hours, and still make a decent return, right? So if you get so what is typically told is, you need time in the markets, time in you need time in the markets, in the sense, the longer you stay, the more you make. So
Yeah.
that is what is taught.
Yeah.
But if I tell you, you can go into an investment and out of an investment in 3 hours, you'll say,
Yeah.
what are you going to make out of that, right? Is it going to be
Yeah.
worthwhile?
Exactly.
Now, the branch of technical analysis is where those kind of investments also are possible. Very short term, very, very short term. So, out of all those fields that I was exploring, technical analysis really caught my fancy, because it gives you that flexibility. You can have a short term investment, you can have a long term investment, medium term, all kinds of investments, and different. So then obviously I started focusing more on that, the technical analysis part, and that's where all the study has gone over the last almost 15 years now. um, so when we teach students, we tell them, this is in the beginning, there is an orientation where we tell them what we teach. So we're telling them upfront that we'll be teaching you technical analysis. Everything is going to be on the price charts. Of course, we look at what is happening in terms of inflation, interest rates, all that. Of course, we keep track of that, but most of our decisions come from the technical analysis side, where we look at the price charts, and the price charts pretty much give us all the information we need to take a decision, to buy, sell, hold, etc., etc. So students come in the orientation, we tell them, you're going to be learning technical analysis. This is how we'll be teaching you. This is how long it will take, etc. We give all the details. Now, if they choose to join, and once they are in the course, then we teach them the theory. As we also make sure that they get enough practice in the classroom itself. So that is very important because so the theory is the knowledge part, but then knowledge is not enough. Knowledge by itself is not enough. It needs to turn into a skill,
That's true.
and the skill happens with practice.
Application,
Now,
yes.
we cannot really have enough practice in class, of course, because time constraints, but we try and get as much of it as possible. And once we get that classroom where we have the theory plus the practice in the classroom, now that when the classroom part is over, we say, okay, now you have a choice. You can go out and start investing on your own. You can pick up markets and buy and sell on your own, or I'm going to be trading. So let's say today's Saturday, end of the week, we finish the classroom course. I'm going to be trading tomorrow. Tomorrow the markets are open. Tomorrow's Monday. So I'm going to be trading. You want to join me? You can watch me do it. So I'll be doing the analysis real time, and you'll be joining me online, and you can watch me do it. So that boosts the confidence, because otherwise you're sort of going out and participating into the markets, not really sure whether your skill is at a good level, right? So, but if you're going to spend some time watching experts
Let's
do
do
it,
it. It becomes easier for you to
and yeah,
understand.
you watch them for a couple of months, you see them, they're doing it consistently, they're applying the same methodology that was taught in class, and they're achieving these results. There is also the part of you know psychology. Psychology is very big in investing and trading. So let's say I give you a really good strategy. Now things can get out of hand, because it's a very good strategy. Now you can start betting big really soon. But are you ready to bet big? So if you say, if it's working on my capital of, let's say, $5,000, why am I just sticking to $5,000? Let me borrow, let's say, $500,000 from my uncles and dad and everybody, and start betting everything on it because this looks so good. Right now, that may not be advisable. So the psychology part as well is part of the learning process, which again, students benefit when they're watching the instructors trade, they're watching the experts navigate the markets, talking about risk management, talking about the psychology of trading. And if and when they're faced with you know a doubt, or if they're struggling with something, they always can reach out to us. So that's the structure of education we follow.
Wow. Sir, if you had to give a piece of advice
Yeah.
to a newcomer looking to build a strong foundation, what would that be?
Uh, yeah. So first of all, the strong foundation in. So this is a life skill, and it is very, very critical to understand how money works, finances. How you plan your life according to that. Um, so wealth management, one of the pillars is, you look at your life, you define what your goals are, and then you can work backwards. So let's say you want to get married at a certain point in time, you fix a date and how much money you would need for that. You want to buy a house, decide when you want to buy that house and how much money you would need for that. Let's say you want to go extravagant, you want to buy a yacht. Why not? You fix a date. When do you want to buy that yacht? By what age? And how much will it cost in today's dollar terms? Okay, so you got your goal.
Value. Yeah, in your
Now
head.
you got your goal. Similarly, every single life goal can be planned out.
It's true.
And let's say you're going to have kids for 30, 40 years down the line, they're going to be going to college, right?
Yeah.
So how much money would you need at that point in time? So those are monetary goals that you can fix, and it can be a big goal, small goals. It's entirely up to you. Not everybody has to have a yacht, but if you feel like having a yacht, this is what you need to do. So now you got your dollar term goals. Now you say, okay, how am I going to get there? What do I need to do today and over the years going up to that date, by which time then that money is going to be ready, right? So now, first of all, you need to earn at your age. You should be first thinking of earning that money. From the money that you earn at your age, you'll be very tempted to spend it, right? It's money in your pocket. You want to go out and spend your money, right? Have a good time because you see your friends posting XYZ on their social media. You want to do the same, so you'll be tempted to spend the money in your pocket. But if you've got that dollar goal, you'll say, okay, maybe hang on, I have that goal, I need to get to that goal, so I'll just stay home tonight, whatever. So Um, so, so this is how important it is. You can be totally financially prepared for the rest of your life, for whatever comes. So you, because you planned it so much in advance. This is how important this skill is, financial literacy. Then the next question will be, how will you get there? What do you need to? First of all, you need to earn, then save. But saving alone is not enough. Savings need to grow, because otherwise, again, you will not reach your goal. Correct? So now you need three things: earning, savings, and then growth. How will you achieve growth? Which are the asset classes which will give you the growth? Is it stocks? Is it crypto? Is it real estate? Is it gold? You have to now you have to sort of navigate and make your right choices. How much of my savings will I put into gold? How much will I put into cryptos? How much will I put into stocks? What kind of stocks? Should I be investing in oil companies? Should I be investing in tech companies, maritime companies? You have to choose. So all the entire process is to me, it's very fascinating. Obviously, it won't be fascinating to everyone, but to me, it is so fascinating that you can actually plan it out and you can pretty much achieve whatever goal you set for yourself, however big that is, or whatever you choose. Your life goals can be achieved. Wow. And there is a way, there is a scientific, systematic way to go about it. So everybody should explore this, everybody should know this, everybody should be doing this planning, right? 100 years back, it used to be a subject in school. Unfortunately, it was taken out from the curriculum and the syllabuses. Somebody came and said kids should not be learning this. God bless his soul. I don't want to take out, to take his name, but imagine that. Imagine if this was a school subject and all kids, grow up and before they get into college, they already have this understanding and awareness that this is how you go about, planning your finances in life, and how you get to your financial goals.
Okay, sir. So that was very insightful. So, how would you integrate theoretical finance concepts with hands-on trading exercises in your courses?
Yeah. So, like I said, I think I've touched on it, which is we have that practice component in the classroom itself.
And watching you.
Yeah. So once that is over, so that is in classroom. Just to say, okay, I just learned a concept. It is theoretical. Now let me put it into practice. Let me see real time today. So that is a concept, but is it applicable in today's market? So I'll be looking at maybe the euro dollar, maybe the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, or whatever. I say, let me apply it to today's conditions. So that happens in class. So at least there is that connect. So again, as students, you may be able to relate, or maybe things have moved on. In my days, we used to learn a lot, but we never saw the practical component. Where is this applicable? How is this going to help me in life? I don't know. And a lot of times I would lose interest in that subject just because I couldn't see the connection. So obviously that is very important. So in class, we learn the concepts that has to be immediately relatable to something that they're seeing in front of them, real time. Gold typically everybody's interested. If not gold, definitely crypto. There's nobody on the planet today who's not interested on crypto. So we'll say, let's pull up a crypto chart and let's apply this concept that you're learning into the crypto chart. So then that becomes relatable. It sort of establishes. And fine, the class is over, fantastic experience, 1 week in class and all that, but let's trade together. Let's do it together. You can watch us do it for some time, as long as you want to watch us. So some members are there for life, because not because it takes a lifetime for them to learn, but some people pick it up very quickly. Even in class, they're already expert. Even in the class, they're already teaching me and all that. But anyways, so we have lifetime members. So why lifetime memberships? Because markets keep changing. Look, if you know the S&P 500, 10 years, 15 years back, used to be trading around 800 and 900. 1,000 was a big deal. Today, it's comfortably trading around 6,000, 5,500, 6,000. So it's a different animal altogether because it's so much bigger. 10 years back, 15 years back, crypto wasn't on the scene at all, whatsoever. Nobody even talked about crypto. The only guys who knew about crypto, very handful of people who bought like each Bitcoin at $10 or something. And today, obviously, it's close to 80, 90,000. So Anyway, so it wasn't mainstream. So markets keep changing, and therefore we have these lifetime members who'll say, "This is a great community. We'll be part of, when we trade together for life." Obviously, at one point they're also contributing a lot because they know so much by now. So that is the kind of structure of the. So it's I look at them more as a fellow trader.
Yeah.
Because very soon we become, we are trading together
Yeah.
for some time. It's no longer that instructor student, fellow traders community.
So, sir, you've taught complex instruments like futures and options for years, which speaks to your ability to make advanced topics accessible. So, sir, what are the most frequent misunderstandings your students have about futures and options, and how do you clarify these complex ideas?
Correct. So great question. So most people, when they hear about futures contracts and options contracts, what they will hear about it is, they are derivatives. Now, first of all, the financial markets seem confusing as they are. Now, if you throw in the word derivative, it becomes even more scary, right? How the hell am I going to learn a derivative? So that was also my fear when it was first suggested to me that I should learn futures and options. I said, "Are you crazy? You think I can do it?" But somehow I was convinced. They convinced me, and I started learning it, and I found out this is not very different from your stocks. It is almost like trading stocks. Yes, there are a few more moving parts which obviously you can learn. I mean, if you put your mind to it, and anybody with that attitude that I want to learn can explore, and they will find that knowledge. So first of all, yes, the first task is to convince somebody that they can do it.
Yeah.
This is not that, this is not actually rocket science.
Exactly.
If you think you can trade cryptos, if you think you can trade stocks, then there are just a few more moving parts which we can learn in a couple of days, and there you are. You can be trading futures. So why trade futures in the first place? Why trade options in the first place, right? Why bother? Because those markets and those instruments give you possibilities that are otherwise not available in your stock market, in your cryptos. They're just not available. There are efficiencies that you can avail of if you're trading futures contracts, options contracts. So, and once we tell them what is possible, so we show what you could do if you would be trading options, what you could be achieving. If you are trading futures contracts, what you could be achieving. Now that gets them excited and say, okay, fine, I'll put in the effort. And then anybody who's ready to put in the effort, we're very happy to teach. And we have a very structured uh, course which has been developed over 25 years, teaching people with absolutely no background. So it is a certain structure that is suitable to, especially made for people who have absolutely no background in finance. So start with the real basics, but then make sure that by the end of the week in class we have a plan that gives students the confidence to go out and say, I can be trading this futures and options. The other thing is, yes, when it is very important when you are explaining. Now we know who's sitting in class, right? So because we told them, if they have no background, now we can't really jump into a high level of futures contracts and option contract. We have to start from the real at a really basic level. So I personally, when I teach, I try to use examples they can relate to. For example, options contract. If I say a a put contract, that may sound scary. What is, oh my God, how am I going to learn what is a put contract? But if I say it is like an insurance policy, an insurance policy is something everybody is comfortable with. You go out and get a, car insurance, health insurance, you're already comfortable with the concept. And I tell you a put option is like an insurance policy. And then I explain the similarities. So within an hour, you sort of get your head around it. This is how a put option works. So we know we're talking to people with, no background, and therefore we have to simplify it at that level, explain using analogies they can relate to. And then, from there on, build into the advanced parts.
Clearing misconceptions builds students' confidence. It also informs how you design your curriculum. So, sir, when creating your market analysis course, How do you decide which topics to include, and how do you keep content relevant and amidst rapidly changing markets?
Yeah, so like I said, we've developed it over time.
Mhm.
Obviously, there was a lot of experimentation in the, but thanks to all
Associated.
that
Yeah.
experimentation, today we have a great structure,
Yeah.
which makes it easy. Now, once we have that structure, unless we see a need to change right now, we have a good structure. We'll just stick to that. And so the structure and the curriculum itself doesn't need to change so much. Yes, there are some, if there are some advanced concepts coming in, some better concepts, we'll bring that into the course. But otherwise, we don't feel the need to bring it in. The changing markets that you spoke about, that is taken care of in the live trading, right? When we are trading
Yeah.
together, if there's something new in the market. So, if, for example, last couple of months, so much so much additional volatility that has come
Yeah.
out of all these policies like tariffs and
Yeah.
all those geopolitical stuff that's going on. So if there is additional volatility now, we and students have never seen this before.
Mhm.
This is something that is being exposed to the first time. Maybe I've seen it a couple of times. COVID, we saw similar volatility. 2008 recession, there was similar volatility. So I've seen it a couple of times, but maybe students, some of my students have not seen that before.
Mhm.
So I'll say, now this is what is likely to happen, and therefore this is how you handle it. This is how you handle the additional volatility.
Mhm.
So all changing market scenarios and situations we will handle through the live trading sessions, not through the curriculum
Yeah.
itself. So the curriculum is sort of
Is
built for normal times and normal situations. Now, when markets changed, crypto came in and crypto started becoming a big deal. We introduced a whole new crypto course. Now, 10 years, 15 years back, crypto course would not have made sense, but today you cannot not have a crypto course. So that was an adaptation. So those are kind of adaptations.
your corporate planning background gives you a strategic lens for educational ventures. It's fascinating to see strategy applied in a new domain. So, sir, how has your experience in strategic planning shaped the way you're building the new training institute in Dubai?
So strategic planning in advertising, for marketing was looking at a lot of data, tons and tons of data from the market side, product side, consumer insights, doing a lot of research. So first of all, there was a lot of the data gathering process. What data we need to be looking at, and how do we get that data? Once you have that data, then analyze the data. And because end of the day, that process would lead to our clients investing millions of dollars in their communication campaign. So we had to get the direction right, we had to get the message right. So same thing here. When we're looking at data here, it's financial
Yeah.
markets is all about data. So that whole rigor about making sure we're looking at all the data, making sure we're analyzing it right, making sure we're getting applying the strategy correctly, and making sure we're analyzing the results and improving our performance over time. So thanks to my background,
Yeah.
20 years in advertising and marketing, that is helping a lot. The other way it helps me is because in communication, it's all about how do you convey a message, correct?
Yeah.
And in the class, it's all about that. How do you convey concepts across? How do you communicate? And what is the best style of presentation, etc., etc. So
Mhm.
all that background has helped a lot.
Yes. So, what leadership lessons from your time in corporate roles do you apply when managing instructors and developers?
Yeah, so in on the corporate side, mostly, at least my background in advertising and marketing was, um, every client wants, they're spending millions of dollars on their advertising campaigns. They want the best results and breakthrough results. They're maybe doing $4 million of sales. They want to reach 20, 25. How do you create those breakthroughs? How do you address a much bigger market? So those were the kind of questions we were dealing with. And then you come back, and then you're sitting with your team and we're brainstorming, how do we deliver a breakthrough? Because running a campaign, anybody can do.
Yeah.
but that is very average. How do you take it to another
Next
level
level. Yeah.
altogether? So that was 10-15 years, and same thing here. So now we're talking to students, same thing. How do we deliver a better experience? How do we make sure they are actually getting more out of this journey? Because I can see they're on the same journey that I was. I
Yeah.
started out by seeking knowledge. Why? Because I was on a certain journey for a certain destination. They're on the same journey. So how do we deliver a better result? How do we deliver the best experience? And then come back and brainstorm with our teams as to delivering the highest quality possible. So we're very sensitive. We take student feedback, and let's say a student complains about an instructor or any other staff member. So immediately it is reviewed. We call in, we speak to the instructor or the staff member, and make sure we are delivering a better experience the next time.
Right. So, sir, how would you foster innovation and maintain high standards as your program scales?
Foster innovation. So fostering innovation is based on constant interaction and feedback.
Yeah.
So you only through constant interaction and feedback you'll pick up some gaps.
Mhm.
So we felt that the many students who were saying that everything is fine when I'm sitting with you and I'm trading with you, but the moment I try to do it on my own, I sort
I'll
of
go
am not so
sideways.
confident. Okay, so we were getting that feedback. So what did we do? So we said, okay, fine. So let's do it together. Live trading in person. So live trading was always online, correct? We
Mhm.
do classroom in person,
Yeah.
and then
Live
trading
trading
was
online.
online.
Yeah.
So we said, why don't we do live trading face to face in the classroom? So
Yeah.
then students can actually see it working, and we do a 2 to 3 hour trading session. And if they have a doubt, they can ask. We are
There.
here,
Yeah.
right, face to face, and they're seeing it all live, real time. So that was something we experimented with based on where we felt there was a gap. So we saw students who were lacking confidence. This was an innovation that we tried. It was an experiment, worked out pretty well, and therefore then it's become part of the regular activities that we do.
Uh, so empowering a team ensures consistent quality. Embracing innovation keeps education dynamic. Next, let's look at how you implement cutting edge tools. You have introduced many new tools and technologies to enhance learning, an essential practice in financial education. So, can you describe an innovative teaching tool or market analysis technique you implemented that significantly improved student engagement or outcomes?
Yeah, so we actually developed an entire software. It was a massive investment, and we developed a whole software just for the classroom. Okay, so that make that learning process easy. So otherwise, it was like doing it manually. You take a price chart and you draw some lines, and you follow some steps. But I would see your students taking maybe 45 minutes to go through the process in the classroom because they've just learned
Learned
it,
it.
right? So it takes some time for them to actually do themselves. So let's say it would take them 45 days. Now we developed this new software which helps them learn so much faster, and then they were able to go through the steps in like 5 minutes.
Wow.
So massive gains in the classroom. Also helps the instructor a lot, because otherwise I was explaining a lot of these mundane things which got automated because the technology then became available. Because we've been teaching for a long time, right? 25 years. And so what we were used to teaching in the analog world, but then so many digital tools became available, and we say, why don't we use them in our classroom, integrate into the curriculum itself.
Mhm.
So there's a new AI tool we've come up with.
Wow.
So it actually automates the whole strategy. So for lifetime members and very busy traders who are trading almost everything. So let's say you have to do the analysis on 50 different stocks. It's going to take
Yeah,
you some
time.
time if
Yeah.
you're going to do it manually, right? So we'll say, okay, here's the AI tool that sort of
Use
does
it.
the same
Yeah.
job. So if you're a multifaceted trader, if you're trading so many different assets, you'll say, okay, I'll use the AI tool rather than doing it everything manually. So we are constantly working on those, as new technology becomes available, as new tools become available, definitely, we bring it in as soon as we can.
Okay, so sir, if you had to pick one emerging technology that you're most excited for the future of financial education, so what would it be?
So today I see some exciting possibilities. A lot of new apps are coming out, and which are actually appealing to the younger generation as well, which is on your fingertips. You have so much information, analysis. You have the option of copying somebody who's an established trader. All this is proliferating very soon, especially amongst the youngsters. So this is a new trend, and it's very exciting. The only downside I see is there are so many of them coming out that you really don't know which one is the best one, and which ones work, which ones don't, because some don't. And that cost of experimentation, the process through which you will find out which are the ones that you should actually be going with. So exciting times, and obviously in the next 5 years it's going to get even more exciting when AIs and will be doing robots will be doing everything for us. So that we don't know what it's going to look like in the financial markets. But good for us to be equipped with the knowledge, so when the tools become available, you can use it even better.
The finance world evolves rapidly, and staying ahead is crucial for success. What market trends do you see shaping the future?
Yeah, just the ones that I just mentioned, which is availability. Availability. Since I already spoke about it, I can speak about another. The downside, or what I see as a dangerous trend. So the positive trend is a lot of data and apps are being available, choices. The negative trend is, and especially I guess all you guys can relate to it much better, which is you see so much happening so quickly, right? And in terms of, let's say, startups, I'm sure some of you, uh, you know, some of your maybe batchmates who've had invested in startups, and they go 1000x, 10,000x, or somebody bought a coin, or that kind of speculation. So there is this dangerous trend, especially for your generation, which is the get rich quick. I have to get rich quick. Now that seems to be a big thing now. Yeah, almost like a standard. So the danger is, okay, so let's say you hit the jackpot. Now everybody's chasing the jackpot nowadays, right? You don't want to, if I give you a plan where you have to wait 10 years to see the results, or in 10 years it's going to be amazing, guaranteed. Okay, guaranteed 10 years it's going to be amazing. But you'll say, come on, 10 years, who's got 10 years, and 20 years, 30 years? You're just not going to think in those terms, because you're looking for the jackpot right now. So think about what happens to jackpot winners. Have you ever thought about that? You're chasing the jackpot. Nobody is thinking about what happens to jackpot winners. All these big winners of lotteries and all that, 99% of them, if you speak to them after 10 or 15 years, they wish it had never happened to them, because everything, their whole life was destroyed. That is what 99% of jackpot winners will tell you 10, 15 years down the line. Now, so you're chasing something which actually, if you do hit your goal, in 15 years time, you're going to regret it anyway, right? So that's what you're chasing. So this is a dangerous trend. So not just buying coins. I want to buy a coin because my ex friend bought this coin at $10, and now it's trading at 100,000. They don't have to work all their life, and they can be traveling and experiences and stuff like that. Do you think that's a good thing? So let me ask you a question. This is a podcast. I'm going to turn it on you. So do you think that's a good thing?
Not
By
really.
18, you're like a billionaire, and then what happens?
Not really, because then there's nothing for you to look forward to doing.
Exactly. So that is the danger, and most young people are now chasing that, right? Get rich quick. So I'll give you a good counter to that, which is Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors of all time. Now, why isn't he investing? Why isn't he chasing coins? Why isn't Warren Buffett chasing coins, right? He's the best investor of all time. Is he chasing coins like everybody?
Extreme volatility of the coin.
No. Is he chasing coins? No, he's not chasing coins. Why is he not chasing coins? Now, something about Warren Buffett, he's on the top 10 list, most wealthiest
Yeah.
people on earth.
Of all.
And something unique about him is he's been the only name there who's been there consistently for the last 40, 50 years.
Wow.
Everybody else and comes and goes from that list.
Mm-hmm.
That list keeps changing, but he's constant. He's still there. He's always there. Last 40, 50 years. So there is something right that he's doing
Yeah.
about wealth, right? So
Yeah.
how does he think about wealth? Is he looking? Is he chasing the jackpot?
No,
No,
he's
he's not chasing the jackpot. He says the best businesses, my goal, if I can find a business that gives me a return on capital employed of 20% per annum consistently every single year, that is it. That is the jackpot. Got it?
Yeah.
So two things happen. One is if you compound at 20%, do you know what happens? If you compound at 20%, what happens to money?
It increases exponentially.
Increases
over
exponentially.
time.
So one thing, so you're going to get to your jackpot anyways, right?
Yeah.
The other thing is it keeps it, you can stay in control. In the sense, suppose today you have 100 and next year you have 120. It's not drastically different, right? A little
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
So you can handle it. Your relationships don't change, your friends remain the same, correct? As opposed to you had 100 today and tomorrow you have a million. Your friends will change. You will dump all your existing friends or whatever. You'll have a new set of friends, new lifestyle, things that you never did before. You'll start doing, you'll own a yacht or whatever. This is a drastic change. Again, something humans cannot handle well. Drastic change. As opposed to if you're growing at 20%, it's something you can handle every year.
Yeah.
So today you had 100, next year you have 120, you're okay. You're still the same guy, you still have the same friends. Yeah. Year after that you have 144, you still have the same friends, you're maybe pulling them along with you. And then next year again you're at 170. So it is change that you can handle, and it's not boring because you're still growing at a very good rate. So this is if uh, your listeners and viewers can take something out of it, it is stop chasing jackpots. Stop chasing those get rich quick. I have to get rich quick. You don't have to get rich quick. Life is long. At least for you guys, I'm on the fag end of it, I think. So they take a patient approach, but what happens is when you're only looking for 20% or something, you'll be then making sure you're getting quality investments, high quality investments, and risk is under control. Keeping risk under control is extremely important.
Yeah.
Right? So if you give me two choices of investments, one with a high risk, much higher risk, and a higher reward, the other one with much less risk but a little less reward, I'll take the less risky one.
Yeah.
Because not losing money, not losing what you have is also an important skill. Not to fall for traps, not to fall for those pipe dreams. It's a big skill in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what combination of technical and soft skills will be most in demand for finance professionals over the next 5 years?
Technical skills is how you keep track of everything that is available, and that sort of happens if you're a finance professional. You're spending like 8, 10, 12 hours, and you're dealing with everybody in the industry, so you get to know what is new, and quickly getting familiar with that technology and using it. So that adaptability is an important skill. The number two important aspect of a finance or a wealth manager would be how they connect with their audience. How they connect with somebody who doesn't have so much expertise, right? So to break it down into the layman's language. Now this is something that influencers are doing very well today. They actually break it down, make it very simple for a lot of people to understand, which the high end pros are not able to do because they're dealing with a whole different set. So they cannot really relate to this layman. So that other important skill is to realize that there is a much bigger opportunity. A lot of people need this product or service, and therefore, but if you bring it down to their level, make them understand, explain in clear terms, like what influencers are doing today. So that is the other. So adaptability, I guess, both in terms of keeping up with the latest technology and learning how to communicate with the layman.
Yes. So finally,
Hmm.
let's pinpoint one actionable move for our listeners.
Hmm.
So what is one specific action you'd advise our listeners to take in this week, whether it be exploring a new trading strategy, practicing risk assessment, or engaging with market analysis tools, and why?
Yeah, so straight away, if you're not already into it, definitely need to start looking at, understanding money, how it works. So that's an action you need to take straight away. Understanding the importance of financial literacy, um, and then exploring courses, like you said, and um, I mean, different, who knows? They may find something much better. So I was in that exploration phase, and I found technical analysis to be the best way to move forward. Maybe they'll find something else. Um, they could try us. So that is an option as well. Who knows? We may be better than any other option that they come across, or they may come across something better. We don't know. But start exploring, because this is something that is so important, and especially let's say you lose 20 years, and 20 years down the line you realize something, and say, wish I had known this 20 years back, right? Wish I had invested in that 20 years back. But you wouldn't know unless the earlier you start, the better. So get started right away. This is something, I think, again, because I'm so passionate about this subject, I don't think anybody will be bored with this subject, but you never know. Maybe it's just me. But yeah, get started at the earliest. And this is so, time is also of the essence here. So Warren Buffett, again, he wants to live longer. He's 90 plus. You know why he wants to live longer?
Not sure.
Because his whole strategy is based on compounding, right? Compounding at 20%. And for compounding, one of the most essential components is time. So the more time you give, the better compounding can work. So time is so important, right? So the earlier you start, the better. So
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today
most
on our
welcome.
episode. Your blend of wealth management mastery, strategic planning expertise, and education innovation offers a blueprint for anyone aiming to excel in finance. His insight on foundational skills, teaching methodologies, strategic vision for a new Dubai Institute, and the role of technology in scaling quality education are invaluable. We're excited to see how his upcoming training institute will reshape financial learning in the region and empower the next generation of market leaders. At Pinnacle Pathways, we are committed to delivering conversations that inform, inspire, and elevate your journey. Keep pushing boundaries, stay curious, always innovate, captivate, and elevate. Because your path to the pinnacle begins with the next bold step. Until next time, this is Miqdaad signing off.
And that brings us to the end of our podcast. A huge thank you to our guests for sharing such valuable insights and to all of you for tuning in.
At Pinnacle Pathways, our mission is to empower the next generation of professionals. And conversations like these are a powerful step in that direction.
This podcast is proudly produced by us, Yuvam and Aarya, as part of our commitment to bridging the gap between education and the corporate world.
Today's episode sparked a new perspective, helped you to learn something, or simply made you think. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts.
And make sure to connect with us on social media for updates, resources, and more content designed to help you thrive in the real world.
Until next time, remember to keep innovating, captivating,
and elevating your way to the pinnacle.